Good evening, everyone. I wanted to, first of all, wish you a happy Friday, but then I wanted to get into the craziness that started with HKD, now has moved on to the newest IPO, MEGL, and some sympathy plays that seem to be moving along with it, especially ILAG, ILAG, as it is running up in the after hours. Then I have a few tickers that I think would be worth your while to keep an eye on and make sure they're on your watch list for next week. So let me start off by saying nothing I say is financial advice and a warning to anybody who's interested in any of these plays. They are extremely high risk. There is definitely something going on with HKD and MEGL that's more than meets the eyes. I highly recommend, if you haven't already, watching the video I put out last night on MEGL, because it might give somewhat of an explanation to what could be going on to cause this, because I believe that it's something that was orchestrated with HKD and MEGL based on the message that I received. So check that out, and you can judge for yourself what you think is going on. Feel free to leave me a message in the comments, and let me know your thoughts on it, because I'm definitely curious. This has been like a really wild week for sure. But let's start off with HKD, and then we'll move on to MEGL, ILAG, and the sympathy plays. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Okay, guys, we are going to start with HKD, which is Hong Kong Magic Empire Global Limited. This is an insane story about an IPO that started off at $4. I believe it IPO'd on July 15th, and it closed that day at $97. However, it continued to go on to rise all the way up to $2,555.30 a share. I kid you not. You've probably seen this, but if not, you really need to check out this ticker because it's insanity. But it seems to be that something bigger is going on. Oh, I should add that the 52-week low is $12.05. It did IPO at $4, but it never opened up at that. I'm not sure what the open up price was because I stayed far away from this. Although, in hindsight, I wish I'd gotten in because I knew about it at $50 and would have been a nice ride, but I thought it had already gone up way too far for me to touch. Had I only known. Hindsight's 20/20, but guys, always follow your plan because these are very high risk plays, like I said. So, would it have been worth it to get in? Well, in hindsight, heck yeah, but what if it had done the opposite? You know what I mean? Like, smart investing to me is better safe than sorry. If you are going to do something wild like that, I would say don't risk what you can't afford to lose because you never know what's going to happen. You could wake up tomorrow and it could be back to, IPO price or less. Who knows? Or it could go the opposite direction like HKD and go to $2,555. It's just nuts. All right, so there's something in common with all of these. There has been 10 tiny listings out of a company based in China or Hong Kong, and 7 out of those 10 have had wild price swings. So it's kind of starting to get fishy that something seems like bigger than what's going on at the surface. I don't know, but stocks like this don't move, and it seems to be that they all have free floats, which I'm going to show you when we discuss these tickers, and they've all done some crazy things. So is there something more to the story? I've heard a lot of different rumors going around, guys, but I'm going to choose not to speculate because I sincerely have no clue what caused this. I just think it's nuts. Anyways, so HKD, like I said, has well, I didn't tell you the float. The float of this has a float of 20.92 million. So, guys, that's relatively small, making it easy to move the price action, right? But a swing from $4 to $2,555 is just insanity in my opinion. And here's the chart here. You can see it opened on the 15th. It took a few days before this really did anything. It just kind of was flat. See that? And then it moved. Actually, I think it might have been my birthday that someone told me, gee, I should have given myself a better gift. On the 27th is when the little bump moves, and then this happens. And then we get this big move to the upside, starts taking one and taking off, right? Now I'm showing you this because I'm not quite sure what the price action is going to be in the latest one that we're going to talk about next. So this is just showing you on 8.5 the difference in price variation, which is today on MEGL, which is Magic Empire Global Limited. And notice how they have similar names, interestingly enough. I don't know, guys. Something nuts is going on here, but this was a $4 IPO. And I tried to order shares, which I placed an order for 125 shares. And I got filled 1 share. And from what I hear from a lot of people, that they had very similar stories. They only got between 1 and 4 shares. I don't know if there's people out there that knew about this earlier that got more. I'm assuming there had to be. But unfortunately, I ended up with 1 because dang, with the way it moved today, I wish I got all 125. And I was being conservative because, like I said, this screams high risk and screams scary as can be to me if it goes the other way. But, you know, at $4 a share for IPO, what did you really have to lose? Not a whole lot, right? Throw $500 at it, and heck, you never know. If it does the other thing, then you can make a lot of money. Anyways, guys, this went from $4 to an open of $50, a low of $49.25, because nothing that opened after that went down. It opened up at 50 and just stopped. So someone maybe got their order filled at $49.25, but the rest paid between that. Today's high a day, $235.95. It fell all the way down to $97 in the in the normal trading day, which is still a huge increase when you paid $4 a share for it if you got it at IPO, or even if you paid $50 a share, right? You essentially doubled your money. Well, guys, now in the after hours, at the time I took this picture a few minutes ago, it was all the way up to $188.10. So it's almost doubled in the after hours. Guys, do you see the percentages here? It's absolutely insane. That's in regular market trading time, it was up 2,325%. And then in the after hours, I'm not quite sure how they're putting in these numbers here, but it says up 93.92%. But if you made it from the $4 to that, geez, this is like insanity. It must have been like up 4,000, 5,000% at one time. Seriously, like this is a whole new game to me that I have not seen in the market. So most IPOs have been dead for the last 2 years, and this one, I think the most wild one I've seen prior to this was like Poshmark that went from $42 to $105. And then it dumped. I looked at it before I made this recording out of curiosity, and it's all the way down to $11 and change right now. So I don't know what's different about this, but it all goes back to China. That's the thing that they have in common. Now, this is just to show you the same thing, and that it opened at $50. And guys, the float is the most important part of this page I want you to look at. The float on this one is 1/4 of the size of the one that went to $2,000. So can you just knock me out if this thing goes to $10,000? Because I think I'll be like in a dream world, because that's just bizarre to me. But if you were to like take the float and multiply it, you know, divide it by the other one, and then multiply the 4. So I'm saying that it's 1/4 of the size, right? So that one went to 2,555 on 20 million shares, and this one only has 5 million. That's where I'm getting at. Is this actually going to hit 10,000? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. But I would be shocked if I ever saw that number. I don't know how high it really can go. I mean, this is just getting crazier and crazier, to be perfectly honest with you. But something to just keep in mind when you're comparing the float. Now, in the after hours, we are seeing ILAG, which is ILAG, Intelligent Living Application Group. And this had been on my radar, and I actually played this as a sympathy play to HKD. And guys, you can see that this one had an IPO, and it went from, $6 all the way up to $26.40. Dropped back down, and then it's been trading like relatively up and down. It went from like $1 something to maybe $3, I think, or $2 something. I don't know, something like that when I was playing the Sympathy on HKD. But now, guys, it went today all the way up to $3.60. From $2 and I think it was like $2 and maybe 20 cents this morning, something like that. But it's up 64.38% on the day, and in the after hours, it's up to 450 and climbing, guys. So that's an additional 25%. This is nuts. And, I'm looking at this one as, is it going to go and hit that 2640 or go above it? Because look at this float. Oh, and by the way, I have the MACD in this picture, and it's just crossing over. So I think that this is the one that I'm going to play on Monday. I have a position right now. I want to see what it does before the end of the day, but I'm considering buying more before market open because I think this could be an absolute wild ride. And you saw HKD took a few days to get running, so maybe this one's lagging behind and it'll be another runner. I don't know, but it's worth watching. And again, remember, this is very high risk. Don't play with money you can't afford to lose. The float on this is only 8.7 million. So again, it's very tiny. And as you can see, the 52-week low is $1.65. 52-week high is $26.40. So there's a good potential to the upside here. All right, guys. KRKR. Now, this one people have been calling out as a sympathy play. I have played it twice now. And just for small games, like nothing, no major run, but it can get going when it moves, believe it or not. Now, for some reason, it is really, the last couple of days, it's been kind of on a downtrend, right? Well, actually, it's been on a downtrend if you look at this chart, except for this brief run up here. But since January of 2021, this thing has been in a downtrend. So, could the tables turn? Because it certainly seems like it's due to go into an uptrend. It did have that brief run up I told you about previously, which we'll discuss with the 52-week high in just a minute. But it's starting to curl. So this catches my eye as well. I'm not quite sure, other than it's a holding company, and China, I think it's China-based, but because people are using this as a sympathy play. So keep it on your watch list. It's definitely worth watching, and it definitely looks like it's due for a turnaround. It's been in a downtrend for quite some time now. Let's look at the 52-week info. Oh, I just wanted to show you. I did print it out. This is the run that I had previously. Remember I told you I wrote it up a couple times. I wrote up this one to the 239, and then I did a sympathy play the next day or the day after, and it had fallen down, and I wrote it up again. If you guys follow me on Twitter, then you saw that day because I had it in my watch list and I called it out, and some of you took that play with me. So anyways, this is another one that I'm watching for a potential play again on Monday. Okay, so 52-week low is 50 cents. 52-week high is $2.39, and we're currently smack dab in the middle of that, right at $1.35, which is a great entry price in my opinion, if this starts going. The free float on this one is still relatively low, but it is higher than the rest. It's 30.53 million. So keep that in mind. That doesn't mean it can't move, because let me tell you it can. But definitely something to keep an eye on Monday. KRKR, and that's 36KR Holding Inc. All right, guys. OST is another one that has been being called out. Now, my guess looking at this chart is that it was another one in this group of 7 that had these massive runs, because, and AMTD is not on my list, but that's another one of the 7 that fits this category as well. But back to OST. Check it out. It ran up at IPO. Within 2 days or 3 days or whatever, it hit the high of $47.79. Guys, this is not normal for an IPO, just so you know. This hasn't been happening in a long time. I mean, yeah, there's been stocks that do this. This has specific qualifications. They all seem to be coming from China. Anyways, it proceeded to trade relatively flat, like in that $1 to $3 range, $1 to $2, whatever, somewhere in between here, right? All this time. Now, check out the next graph. All of a sudden, HKD starts running, and you start seeing the sympathy play forming, and boom, a pop-up. Like, people caught wind of, oh, that's the same thing. Let's try this again, right? So then you get the run-up this day. It fell back down the last couple days. It seemed to take a break, cool off. Well, guys, now it seems to be starting in the after hours again. So today it was up 8.86%. And then in the after hours, it was up an additional 4.65%. So that's OST, Austin Technology Group. Let's just take a look at the float. The float on this is very small. It's 6.9 million. And as you can see, like I just said on the last page, a 52-week low of $1.52 and a 52-week high of $47.79. This should definitely be on your watch list because I think it's going to continue to make moves to the upside. It may come in batches, so make sure that you look for a proper entry and always have risk management in all of these plays, guys. I can't stress that enough. Now, this one, I am not sure if it's part of that group. I haven't even looked to see if it's China. It just reminded me when I saw all this of a play that I watched in horror. Tried to run a sympathy. I've gotten a couple of runs off of this, and then I lost a little bit. So I'm probably about break even on this LYT play. But I feel horrible, and I made a video. You can go back and check it out. It'll give you more information on this. But this had a massive run up and then a dump, right? All the way down. It was like $6, $7 that day, but it proceeded. Look, it's still coming down. It's at $2.30 was the all-time low. And currently, it's at $2.82, but it is running up in the after hours. It's at $2.94. So, I think that this is another one of those 7 potentially, because this is not normal by any means, and I saw that when this came out. So please keep LYT Latest Technologies on that list. Guys, you should all be making watch lists that meet certain criteria and grouping them together. You can have as many watch lists as you want, call this China IPOs or whatever, and, have them so that when you start seeing these move or these run or another one come out, you know which ones to look for and keep an eye on. That's how you form similarities and sympathy plays. And when things move in the market, if you have all these lists made, it's a lot easier for you to spot the ones that lag, because a lot of times they come in cycles, but some of them lag behind others. So if you see one running and you know which one generally lags, it becomes very easy to know what to play. Like today, right? I'm playing ILAG. So what's my first thought for Monday? If that one stops, although I think it's going to continue based on the price action after hours. However, if it should stop, or if I want to look for the next play, I'm looking at OST. Primarily KRKR as another possibility. So those are the 2 on my watch list, right? And then also this LYT. Because the float is only 5.57 million. It is very small, which is how they're running these up. It's very easy to, I shouldn't say manipulate, but to drive price action up when you have a lot of people wanting to buy. And at the same time, when you start selling it off, it will drop just as fast, which is why you need to be careful and don't get too greedy. Remember that saying, pigs get slaughtered. This is exactly what they mean. You don't want to be that person up at the top that, like with HKD, bought at $2,555. Now it's all the way down to $700. You don't want to be that person. So just don't get greedy and be careful. Risk management is key here, guys. So 52-week high on lit is $2.30. 52-week high is $47.06, excuse me, and the 52-week low is $2.30. So guys, that's all I have for this video, but I appreciate you watching. Please be sure if you need to rewatch it, make a list for yourself with all of the tickers, put down the price that they're trading at right now, and I would look them up after 8 p.m., which by the time you're getting this, it's probably going to be, or very close. So leave that blank, and over the weekend, put in the price that it's currently at now, and then put down the 52-week low and the 52-week high in the columns and the float, so you know which ones are smaller than others. Those are the columns that you need to make to keep track of this. So then Monday morning, when you're ready to start watching and you want to pick which one you're going to enter, because don't try to trade them all at the same time, guys, especially if you're beginning. That is not a good strategy. And if you're over trading, it's a great way to lose money. I've been trading for quite some time, and I tend to overtrade, which is not good. That's my one thing that I definitely need to work on. And it goes back to my ADD, that I need to be all over the place and constantly busy. And if you trade for a long time, things start to get really boring because you're familiar with patterns and everything else. So I don't know. If you're me, you're tweeting all day, or you're like finding more tickers to get into, and before you know it, you've created yourself way too many to watch. So you don't want to get into that habit, please. Just because I call out all these plays too doesn't mean that I'm in every single one of them, because my God, could you imagine? Although I will tell you, I do have at least 20 different tickers on my screen at all times, and that doesn't mean that I'm trading them, but my eyes are on them because I'm watching, because I like seeing what's doing what, and I like making these sympathy plays and finding what's working together in the market, what's running. It's important to me. So anyways, that's it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.